Arsenal are in a position to do the unthinkable. Look, there's so much negativity and hate surrounding Arsenal and Mikel Arteta at the minute, so I thought, why not approach this in a different way? Let's look in the total other direction and say, Arsenal are well placed to dominate this league for the next 10 seasons. And people might think, what are you talking about? You are crazy. But look, we've seen countless examples over the season where football moves in cycles, in eras, legacies are left behind. We seem to be coming to the end of the Pep Guardiola era. That doesn't mean that will definitely happen, by the way, but the signals are there to suggest that the Guardiola era of football is over. Before that, we've had other managers who have left their print on the Premier League. You think of Mourinho, you think of Wenger, and the longest and most successful reign, Sir Alex Ferguson. So I pose a question to you. Is it totally unthinkable to think that Arsenal could dominate this league for the next 10 seasons? Again, I'm not saying it will happen, but is it totally unthinkable? Look at how well placed Arsenal are. And if anyone says that is totally an unreasonable thing to say, I don't think you're being genuine. Because look at the players Arsenal have, right? You look at what makes Arsenal the best team at the minute in world football, in my opinion, and that is the strength in defence. That defence, unless some of these players leave, isn't going anywhere. It won't get weaker. If anything, it will just get stronger because we have an array of young defensive players. You think of William Saliba, so young, Gabriel, Timber, Calafiori, and then you look at the next crop where you think, oh my God, these guys could turn into world-class players. I'm thinking Miles Lewis-Skelly, Mosquera. You've got players like Nkapie in the background as well. There are so many reasons to believe that Arsenal could go on an unprecedented run. Again, this isn't me saying that will definitely happen, but I'm sick of this narrative being spun that Arsenal are lucky. Arsenal are in this position by chance. They're so defensive. You can't do this by being so defensive. And it's just not true. Sir Alex Ferguson, people like to say if Mikel Arteta was around in Sir Alex Ferguson's era, he wouldn't even be in a job. And I'm like, are you just saying that because you think it sounds correct? Like, Sir Alex Ferguson didn't win a title with Manchester United for the first 7 years. It took him 7 years until he won the league title. And there were periods of his tenure where people were saying, this isn't the right guy. I want this guy out. And after 7 seasons, he wins his first title and then he dominates the league. And now he has the best legacy in Premier League history, in maybe... Well, like if you ask so many of these great managers of the modern era, who is the best manager of all time? You would hear Sir Alex Ferguson's name more than once. It's something that would happen. He is a legend. And there is a weird and wacky world where Mikel Arteta can dominate this league for the next 10 years. That's not unthinkable. The way that Arsenal play. Now, so many things have to happen. But I'm going to make a prediction. I think Arsenal there's going to be a legacy around Mikel Arteta. I'm drawing comparisons to Sir Alex and Mikel Arteta. Again, I'm not saying he's going to be as good. I'm not going to say his legacy will be as great as Sir Alex's, but there are definitely comparables. And if Arteta gets this right, if this team does what so many of us think it can do, then he will leave his print on this Premier League. We're seeing the Premier League shifting. We're seeing the style of play shift. And that is because of Mikel Arteta. He is the current pioneer of the Premier League. So again, I just wanted to have that conversation because I'm sick of the negative. So I thought, why not try and spin it into a positive and show you that something really special could genuinely be happening at Arsenal right now. So let's get behind the manager. Let's get behind these players. Look, we got a game tomorrow against Brighton in the Cup. And most of the time when you come up against a team like Brighton in the Cup, you will say, right, we need to play our best team. We need to beat Brighton. And I feel that way, but I want to see some heavy rotation. We've got a massive game on the weekend that we can't afford to lose in the league. Yes, it's against Burnley. But if you look at teams like Liverpool, some of the games they've got Villa coming up. Then they got Real Madrid. And then they got Man City. So Liverpool look like they will drop points again. So Arsenal need to keep on winning. This weekend, I want to have fresh legs out there. But then that means, what do you do with this team? I want you to let me know your Arsenal versus Brighton score prediction for tomorrow's game. And as always, if anyone is able to get it correct in the breakdown video after the game, I will give you a shout out. So let me know your Arsenal versus Brighton score prediction. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win. And you might be thinking, why are Brighton going to score? We've been so good defensively, but it's just for the fact that I want to see so much rotation. I would love to see Kepa being given a game. Let's rest David Raya. There hasn't been many opportunities this season where we can rest David Raya. This might be one of them. Ben White at right back. Again, the centre-backs, I would personally rest both of them. Some people might say that is very, very dangerous. I would agree with you. But if we want to do what we want to do, then we have to be able to rest key players like Saliba, like Gabriel. We've seen the consequences of overplaying these players in previous seasons. We're even seeing some negative impacts of that this season because we're having so many injuries. This is just a symptom of players being overplayed. So let's rest Gabriel and Saliba and let's play someone, Mosquera, and let's play Nkapie or Calafiori at centre-back. That's what I would do. I would go Mosquera and Calafiori at centre-back, and then I want to see what Nkapie offers at left-back. Is that harsh on Miles Lewis-Skelly to be rested in a game like this where there's so much rotation? Possibly, but he is a player that is used frequently in Premier League games, Champions League games. He always comes off the bench, so there isn't a risk of not playing Miles Lewis-Skelly and risking his development. It's already a player that is seeing so much action. So for this game, I bring him on as a substitute, and that's the backline I go with. In midfield, play Norgard, play Nwaneri, play Mikel Merino, shuffle that midfield around. These are players that will help Arsenal, and if we can get them some momentum in a game like this, in a cup game against a decent team, again, it's going to be competitive. But that heavily rotated team, we could rotate the full starting 11 in this game and still win against a strong first team Brighton. That is just how strong Arsenal's first team is now. That is the reality. That's not me making a weird statement. Like, that is genuine. From the last game, if we rotate every single player, we could still beat Brighton's first team. Arsenal, we've seen the strength in depth. There's been, pictures floating around of Arsenal's first team and potential second team. And the strength in depth, it is like Arsenal have two first teams. On the right, what could you do? Could you play Max Dowman? Could this be a start for Max Dowman on the right? On the left, we're seeing Trossard played so much. Could this be a game where you play Gabriel Martinelli? Maybe. I would want to rest Victor Gyökeres in this game. So again, maybe you put someone else in midfield and you play Mikel Merino at top. People might be saying, well, you're risking the cup. I would say I wouldn't see it that way because, again, I think we need to be able to depend on these rotated players that are not necessarily first-team starters in every single game. You need to be able to use them in the cup games and still feel confident. Again, some of them players I've mentioned are more than good enough to get into other top 4 teams starting 11. Like, that is just the reality that we find ourselves in. So, again, rotating that much, I wouldn't feel that much, I don't know, I wouldn't be that scared of thinking, oh my God, Arsenal are going to get knocked out. And if we're being honest, if there's ever a competition that you don't mind being dropped out of, it is the EFL Cup. Again, I wouldn't necessarily throw it away. I'm seeing people out there saying, do you know what, let's just throw this competition. Let's focus on the FA Cup, the Premier League, the Champions League, and try and get the treble done. Again, I would love that. But I don't think we need to throw away the EFL Cup because I think, again, if we do heavily rotate, I still think this team is more than good enough to beat this team and go far enough into the competition to where we can keep resting players midweek and then playing them on the weekend in the Premier League. Let me know your thoughts on everything you've heard in this video. What is your score prediction for Arsenal versus Brighton? Mine, like I said, is 3-1. Let me know your thoughts on Mikel Arteta. How do you think he's doing? Is this constant overreaction and hate that you're seeing from rival teams frustrating to you? Or like me, do you see it as a bit of a sign that Arsenal are doing something right? Because like I said in yesterday's video, people hate what they fear. They fear Mikel Arteta. They know he's coming. They know this manager is now in a position to start winning things. And the thought of that absolutely terrifies people. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, if you could do me a quick favour, just hit like and subscribe. And I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.